Hi, everybody. We are back to Take Your Medicine, episode 45. Look at us, Billy. Whoa, 45. We did it. Are you proud of us? My hair is driving me nuts this morning, but it's still a little wet, and I am about to go have it dreaded. Big change for me. I'm going to have all of this put into dreadlocks. And so I'm just trying to let it air dry because I'm leaving right after this to go have it dreaded. So I'm just letting it down for a minute. We'll see how long the dreads are. I'll let you know. I mean, that'll be my next video, will be with dreads. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm not going to be talking a lot today, but I have had something on my mind. It's a memory that has come up 2 different times now recently in my journeying or channeling sessions. One was with the person I last worked with, and we did Reiki, and I spoke a little bit about that. While I was channeling, something about this memory came through, and it was the first time ever that I have been able to channel something about this event in my life. And so then the other night I was channeling in my home, in my bed, and having a visionary experience. It was beautiful. And I again saw myself speaking about this specific event or memory that happened in my life. So I wanted to share it here and also share why it's a little bit frustrating that my ego still gets in the way to get some clarity on some of these things. So here is the story. This is what happened. It was December of 2006. I was pregnant with my daughter, Anna, and my husband at the time, his name was Jake, and we were sleeping. He wore earplugs, and this was before we had cameras on our phones or anything like that. So I wish I would have had a camera right by my bed when this happened, but that was not the time we were living in. So I was asleep and I heard this sound. And the sound was like a weird sound I had never heard before. And at first, it was very distant. And the sound was like this. It was like, like that. And at first, like I said, it was soft, and it got louder and louder and louder and louder until it was totally keeping me from being able to fall back asleep. And I was like, what in the world is that sound? So eventually it got so loud that I got out of my bed, and I was on the side closest to where the window was. And Jake was fast asleep next to me with his earplugs in. And I looked out of the blinds, and there was like a ginormous rounded rectangle metal ship, like a UFO. And it had green and blue and yellow and red blinking lights. And it was right in front of my face, hovering over our backyard, which was pretty large at the time. And I totally freaked out. I could not believe what I was seeing. I started rubbing my eyes because I thought like maybe I'm seeing things. I just kept rubbing my eyes and being like, honey, wake up. I was like freaking out and staring at this thing, and it was just like hovering over our backyard. And it was a very quick encounter because I freaked out the second I saw it, and it started to move away from me as soon as I was trying to get Jake to come and see it. So it was like hovering over our backyard. And as soon as I started screaming for Jake to wake up and come and see what was going on, it started lifting out of the backyard, and it brushed. We had like an Asian pear tree, And I remember watching the bottom of the ship like brush the top of the Asian pear tree in the back left corner of our yard. And it went over a roof. And eventually, by the time Jake got out of bed to come and see what I was freaking out about, I could still see it, but it just looked like a bright light. It looked like another star or something. And so I was very religious at the time. I belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon religion. I did not have any belief in UFOs. And I also had like a major fear of being crazy and being like mentally ill. And that comes from a lot of kind of programming and things that involve my parents, and making me just kind of, I always felt a little bit like, am I a crazy person? What is going on with me? What is wrong with me? I always felt like I was weird and there was something wrong with me. And so in my Mormon community, this would have been seen as something totally awkward to share. And I didn't share it with anybody except for my immediate family. I told my sisters and brother and my dad and stepmom, and I was completely freaked out. I was not able to sleep for months after that very well, because I was just constantly trying to listen for that same sound. And it made me just literally feel like I was crazy. Like, what the heck was that? I searched online for UFO sightings near Alpine, Utah, because that's where we lived at the time. And there was no report of any other UFO sightings. And I never saw anything like that before or since. And it was literally like a metal object made out of like plates of metal that looked very shiny. And then, but it was dark outside, so you couldn't see much. And then these blinking lights all around the center rim of it. And I just recently opened my journal from that time, and I read the entry, and I just thought, oh, this is frustrating. Because when I wrote about it, I wrote about it as a Mormon who was afraid of being looked at as a crazy person. I literally said in the journal entry, I think most people reading this might think I'm a psychopath. And I very much minimized how much this event affected me. I just said, like, I think I saw a UFO. And it was like, are you kidding me? That was one of the craziest experiences of my entire life, but I didn't want myself to sound like a crazy person in my journal. And there are a lot of instances like that in my journaling from those early years when I didn't know myself. I hadn't healed. I was very lost. And I wrote about things, my marriage was suffering. There was a lot of dysfunction in my marriage at the time. And I sugarcoated everything. I didn't ever want my children to read my journals and see horrible things and to feel differently about people in their lives just because of what they read in my journal. And so I really sugarcoated everything to make myself look normal and healthy and all of these things that I was not. So, but I'm glad I at least wrote down the experience, but it was just very like minimized. And so the last two times that I've really, or at least two of the several times I've channeled in the last few weeks, this has come up. But what's frustrating is my ego gets in the way whenever I'm starting to talk about something specific. When I'm channeling, I start to doubt myself. I get in my own head. And Jesus Kate has told me multiple times, and Ebert, get out of your head. Get out of your head. Simply allow us to come through with our messages. And I do very well when they are channeling through me, and it's not about something that I have already experienced or something that I have opinions about, because I'm simply observing their messages coming through, and I'm like, I can't possibly make this up. So yes, I believe what I'm learning. I'm learning while I'm channeling because it's all new information to me. But when I have experienced something like a UFO sighting so many years ago, I doubt myself and I wonder if it's Toby speaking or if it's Jesus Kate or and so I haven't been able to bring about like details on what that ship was, who they were, why they were there, all of those things. I very much want to know. Now, I have seen other ships since that now. In the last 4 years, I have had some incredible experiences with orbs, with ships, with being on a ship. I have seen literal like transformer type beings that can turn themselves into like a ship. Jesus Kate can even turn herself into like a very technological ship like looking, you know, entity where she will swallow me up into the belly of this little ship thing for some of the procedures that I go through with her. But I have never seen something like this metal ship that was in my backyard in Alpine, Utah in December of 2006. So I want to know what that was. And I am hoping that the more healing work I do and the more channeling I do, the more I will be able to confidently bring through answers on specific things. You know, even if somebody asks me something specific, like, would it be best for me to do this or should I go this direction? I have a hard time trusting that I am channeling that answer. I get in the way where I'm thinking, I'm doubting myself and I'm thinking, is this Jesus Kate or is this me? I don't want to give the wrong advice or whatever. So I'm still practicing and I'm still learning. And what I am very confident in and grateful for is these experiences where I am channeling wisdom from these other beings and it's all new to me. And the person I am working with is receiving lots of information that is good for them, good for their life, and also helps me because I'm learning right alongside them. I love collaborative Reiki. I love collaborative healing work where I am learning right alongside you as we channel and work Reiki together. So it's a really, really cool experience to channel. And I just really look forward to more answers coming through. So that's all I want to talk about for today. I have a whole list of stuff that I want to talk about, but I've got a lot going on this morning and I got my hair appointment. So we will see you next time. I hope you take really good care of yourself. Say lots of nice things to yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself forgiveness. Give yourself patience. Give yourself comfort. Know that you are loved and that you are held and that this world can feel so heavy, but the sun always comes up. You are not alone. So, anyway, take good care and namaste.